What is up, everyone? My name is Mr. J, and today I am bringing you a Digimon deck profile for Beelzemon EX10 Sinister Order. We got some new toys to play with, a lot of new toys to play with, to be completely honest. Not that much in the way of searchers, but we'll take what we can get. And yeah, obviously Beelzemon is my avatar for my channel, so I'm excited to bring you this deck profile. The match should already be on the channel, and yeah, this is obviously the follow-up to that match. Anyways, stay tuned for some more matches on the channel. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Anyways, let's get into it. For our eggs, of course, the mandatory 4 of Yaman, right? So just when attacking, if this Digimon has Wizard or Demon Lord in his traits, you trash the top 2 of your deck. I will be honest with you, I have tried testing the Demimera, the one that when you trash a card from your deck, you draw a card. And that's just because of the consistency of the deck. Beelzemon still tends to brick, and this deck profile, like this deck in general, I've tried to mitigate the breaking as much as possible, so keep that in mind as you see my choices. But Yaman, for sure, you still need to mill as many cards as you can to try to get up to 20. Usually try to get up to 20, right? So Yaman is our egg. Keep that there. For our rookies, we are playing 4 of the new EX10 Itmon. This one is really good just because it's a great play starter just to have in the back, right? Start of your main phase. Well, before even that, when this card is trashed, you can delete a level 4 lower Digimon, which is very similar to the EX2, I believe, Beelzemon Blast Mode when it got milled. Really something that's 4 lower Digimon. So pretty much a level 7 effect on a level 3 effect. Power creep, of course, and I really like it. So 4 of, you mill it, you delete a champion or lower. Great. The other thing, start a main phase effect. You trash the top 2 cards of your deck. Now this is not optional, so you do have to trash the card. You have to keep that in mind if you're about to deck out. You probably want to Digivolve over it if you have 2 cards left in deck, right? Or yeah. If there's no way for you to put something back on top of your deck, you definitely don't want this guy to start milling more stuff. But early game, mid game, amazing. The Inheritable, your turn. Unfortunately, it's not all turns like the Ballmon that we'll see in a bit. But your turn, for every 10 cards in your trash, this Digimon gets 1k BP. I think it could have been better. Like I said, if it said all turns, it would have been great. Because I feel like the old Ballmon and the old Ballmon and Ballmon X already give you DP buffs. But still nice so that your Beelzemon doesn't get deleted in security because it does not have jamming. It does have another source of preventing deletion from battle, but we'll get into that again in a bit. For the next rookies, we are running 4 copies of Itmon X Antibody. Itmon X Antibody allows you to, on player, when Digivolving, you trash an option card from your hand to the trash. And you get to add any piece back from the deck that we're playing, right? So I believe it's Wizard, Evil, or Demon Lord in its traits. Great card. I see people cutting it down, but like I said, when attacking, once per turn the Inheritable, you mill the top 2 when attacking. I think it's still necessary, plus it gets you anything back from the deck. And like I said, Beelzemon's prone to bricking, so you definitely just want to have this card, pitch a dead card, option card in your hand, and get any piece that you need back from the trash. All right. Now, where this list starts to deviate from other lists is the BT6 Itmon, and let's just put the 1 of here. BT6 Itmon, because on play you may trash 1 card in your hand. If you do, return 1 Digimon with the 7th grade Demon Lord's trait, or 3 Musketeers in its type from your trash to your hand. Now this is kind of like Rivals Barrage, but only for Beelzemon. It does not pick up Blast Mode, but it does pick up the X Antibody, and it does pick up any other Beelzemon level 6. This is really good because you can actually do a combo, which I guess I'll show at the end of the video. If they pop your stack, right, your Beelzemon X Antibody, you can bring back this Imp and trash a card, get the ace back from your trash, and then just ace them, right? You can do the same play with the Itmon X Antibody, so it's not, I guess it's not necessary in the deck, is what I'm trying to say. But Itmon X Antibody cannot be brought out by the EX2 Beelzemon That's the only thing, right? So I like this guy because it's so much faster than Rivals Barrage. Rivals Barrage, you have to wait a whole turn after it's milled to use it. This one is just on play, you trash one, get the piece back, right? So you can trash the EX2 Beelzemon, play the Impmon trash something, get X antibody back from the trash, and then X antibody the same turn. I don't need to wait for a whole turn for Rivals Barrage to get me the X antibody back. That's the reason I'm playing the BT6 Imp. Like I said, you don't have to play it, but that's my choice. And then last off, the one of Impmon, of course, it's one of, you mill it from the top of your deck and you mill 3. Great. Inheritable, also great. If it has Beelzemon in his name, gets 3k. Wish it was at 4 copies, but I don't think that's ever gonna happen. So yeah. What are the other options? You could play the Retaliation one that plays on play a Tamer from the trash. Problem is the Tamer has to be from the trash and it's a 4 cost. I think I would rather play the Impmon from EX10 to be honest, because then it'll give me value next turn. But yeah, if there's nothing in trash for the on play Impmon, then it's kind of dead, to be honest. I would rather, if I had the choice, I'd pick this one over that one. You also have the choice from the BT1 Impmon or whatever the first Impmon was that came out, where on deletion you mill top 3. You can pick that one if you want, if you're going for like a more of a rookie rush strat. I know that DigiDread was playing it, so check out his deck profile if you haven't already. He's playing it. If I had the alt-art, bro, I would play it, but I don't have the alt-art, so this is my rookie count. You can also run the starter deck level 3. I don't run it. I like the Impmon from EX10. I feel like it kind of power creeps it, because the only reason I would run the other Impmon is so that I can delete a level 3 or lower, or level 3 Digimon when I trash something from the top of my deck. But this guy, it's 4 or lower, right? You just restack it with Beelzemon, the ace, mill it, pop 2 things. You know, it's crazy. So this guy pretty much does that job. The other thing is, people will argue that the warp is really good, right? With the starter deck imp, like you swing warp into Beelzemon from the trash. It's just that Beelzemon swinging 12k into security, which is kind of risky since the ace is only 12k, right? So you might hit security in the past turn with the ace overflow, but it's up to you. I'm not saying you can play whatever ratio you want, test the build out, see what's comfortable for you. If you want to play the starter deck imp, you can play the starter deck imp. So let's put these a little bit to the side here. All right, moving on to our champions. We have 4 copies, of course, of Wizardmon, 3 copies of Wizard X, and then 2 copies of Wizardmon from EX10. Of course, Wizardmon, I don't think this is ever going to be dropped down. The promo wizard that came out in the starter deck was reprinted, because obviously when you trash it from your deck, you gain a memory. Great. Plus with the new Beelzemon ace, you can abuse this. It's really good, right? This one and the Deathslinger. So it's not going to come out. The when attacking inheritable also comes up. You can put one of your cards from your hand on the top of your deck and then mill it. So you get to choose. Wizard X, I recently dropped it down to 3 copies. Wizard X is still good because you get the blocker. Sorry, my cat's under the table and I just keep hitting her because she has a whole bed right here. I don't know why she's right under my feet. Anyways, Wizard X. It has Wizard or X antibody in the sources, gains blocker. But when attacking, trash top 2. Great. It also has good stats, being 6 play cost and 6k DP, so it does dodge a lot of deletion effects that are meant to delete for level 4 or lowers. So there's that. The Barrier Wizard here. So this is the new edition from EX10. And the only reason I'm playing it, shout out to Jesus for selling me this card, but the only reason I'm playing it is because it actually does help. So this one is, when an effect trashes this card from your deck or security stack, give one of your opponent's Digimon security attack -1 until the end of the turn. So this comes up when Beelzemon cannot delete the Digimon and you don't want to delete the Digimon. So what comes to mind right away is Beelzemon, right? The partition one. Like, they froze your entire board. Like, what are you going to do? They're going to swing for a game next turn. Just restack the wizard with the Beelz Ace or whatever way you can, and mill it, give the Beelzemon sec -1, and you're safe for the turn, right? So it's a great defensive card, honestly. I wasn't playing it before. Like I said, Jesus kind of talked me into playing it, and that's why I bumped it up to 2 copies. The Barrier also comes up. Barrier is really important because you can swing, not get deleted in security, and your opponent cannot swing into you on their turn, right? You'll just trash your security card. Yeah, I'm playing when Digivolving. I thought it was kind of mid. Like, it's good versus, like, I guess it depends on the deck you're playing against. But I'm playing when Digivolving by trashing your top security card, trash the top 2 cards of your deck, and all of your opponent's Digimon get minus 3k for the turn. So in some instances, it can swing over level 5s. It can blow up a bunch of rookies. If there's 4 rookies on the board, you blow up a bunch of rookies. The trade-off here is that you are trashing your own security, so you have to be careful versus aggro decks. But I also think that's why it has the sec -1 when it's trashed from the top of your deck. Or security. So that's it. These are my ratios. That's 9, which is actually what, like, I used to play 8 in BT21 when I last touched this deck. So 9 copies is pretty good for champs. Moving on to the level 5s, we do have 4 copies. Oh man, these are out of order. What the? 4 copies of Beelzemon from the starter deck. 3 copies of the new Beelzemon. So yeah, I really like the starter deck Beelzemon because it still gains the on deletion effect. So they both mill 3, but this one gains on deletion. So even if they de-digivolve it, which, surprise, surprise, there's a lot of de-digivolve effects in the current meta. Just in general, like a lot of tier 1.5 decks have de-digivolve. So Beelzemon here, even if it gets de-digivolved, if they pop it, he still gets to play the Beelzemon, so it's really good. The Inheritable is also really good. Your turn, when this Digimon, if it has a Wizard or Demon Lords in its trade, it gets 2k. So it helps you swing over bodies and into security safely. Now, how about the new Beelzemon? So new Beelzemon, on player when Digivolving, you trash the top 3 cards of your deck, same thing. Then if you have 5 or more cards in your trash, this Digimon gains Reboot and Blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. So really good. Again, the new line's kind of defensive if you haven't noticed, like the EX10 Impmon, EX10 Wizardmon. They're defensive cards, right? So this one gives Reboot, Blocker, really good in my opinion. You have to have 5 or more in trash, so it's kind of dead early game if you just promote and swing. But yeah, on deletion, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you may play one Beelzemon from your trash. So it can play out the new ace, obviously. And we like that. We like that. Give me a second, guys. I think I forgot to turn on one of my lights. I don't think it matters anymore, right, bro? Like, it's already kind of late. Ah, that would have helped out so much. Look at that. Okay, whatever. You live and you learn. Because I was like, why is my map blue? It still kind of looks blue, but it's purple. These are my level 5s. So let's move on. Before we continue, I used to run the level 5s at only 6 copies. Dude, I think that's insane. Because you will just get mad when you break with this deck, which does happen, right? It's very high rolly. But I play 7. Let's move on to the Beelzemons. We are playing, let's just put these up here. 3 copies of the Ace. 2 copies of Beelzemon from EX2. 2 copies of Beelzemon X Antibody. And then 1 Blast Mode. So yeah, let's talk about this. The Ace, you could run it at 2. You could run it at 3 copies. This used to be 1 copy of the starter deck Beelzemon, the one that mills 4 and then gains a memory for every 10 in your trash. Gain sec +1. That's the reason. But what I found is, just like DigiDread said in his video, you kind of want to have 1 in trash all the time and 1 in your hand, so that you can blast on top of an Impmon or on top of your level 5. So the Beelzemon, really good. I think honestly it's what makes the deck. The supporting cards are really good, but I do think the deck still needs a searcher, like a dedicated searcher outside of the Ayamako. So this one, hand, counter, blast, digivolve. While you have 20 or more cards in your trash, you can digivolve on top of a level 3 Impmon in its name for 4 costs. So that's Impmon X Antibody as well. Pretty good. You should definitely remember that. Most important effect, this one triggers usually first on player when digivolving if you have 10 or more cards in your trash. By returning 2 non-digi-egg cards from your trash to the top of your deck, de-digivolve to one of your opponent's Digimon. So just by putting 2 cards to the top of your deck, if you already had 10 or more in trash, you'll de-digivolve 2, which is really good against certain decks. And then the second effect that usually activates on play when digivolving, when attacking, not once per turn. Trash the top 2 cards of your deck. Then delete one of your opponent's Digimon, play cost 6 or lower. For every 10 cards in your trash, add 3 to the maximum cost. So if you already have 10 in trash, you'll be able to delete something that's 9 cost. So he pops a level 5, basically, right? When it comes out. When you have 20 in trash, he can pop most level 6s. And yeah, you would need 30 in trash to pop level 7s. But yeah, let's not get into that. Point being, my boy is really good, him and Behemoth. Yeah, he just looks so cool on the motorcycle. And I do think this is what helps the deck at least get to tier 1.5. Next Beelzemon, EX2 Beelzemon. EX2 Beelzemon is just here to play the Immons out. You want to play the EX10 Immons and your BT6 imps. I've seen some people cut it, right? And it's up to you, you can cut it. I still like the play where I can mill Beelzemon, play BT6 imp. BT6 imp gets me back the X antibody, and then I can go for a game. And again, I don't have to wait a whole turn for the Rivals Barrage because it's a delay effect, right? I don't have to wait a whole turn for the Rivals Barrage. Last two, of course, 2 copies of the Beelzemon X antibody. You still want to, this is the main win con, to be honest. Still, this guy, the ace, is really good at controlling the board, but the whole point of the deck is still to trash your opponent's top security cards. So yeah, 2 copies. I wouldn't play 1. There's no way, man. You're not gonna get away with it. You have to play the copies here. 2 copies at least. And then the 1 blast mode. I wasn't a fan of the blast mode when I first started playing Beelzemon, but he does win games. So yeah. You guys already know. If you don't know, if it's trash from the top of your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon. For every 10, you can increase it. So once you have 20, you can pop a level 5. When Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon. Then if you have 20 or more cards in your trash, you gain 3 memory. So essentially it's a 1 to Digivolve. And yeah, he's pretty much Omnimon for game, the Blitz Omni for game. Let's move on to our options. All right, for our options, we are running 3 Purple Memory Boost, 3 Wisdom Training, 3 Rivals Barrage. Let's stop there because there's quite a few cards here. What am I doing? These are consistency cards. 3 Purple Memory Boost, 4 Wisdom Training, 4. I want it to be 4. That's why I'm saying that. But it's 3 Wisdom Training. And yeah, I honestly want it to be 7 supporting cards. Now, where are my tamers, actually? I should have done the tamers first. Oh, well. Yeah, these are my supporting cards. Let's just do the tamers then at this point. We have the 4 Ayamako. Let's just put these bad boys over here. Yeah, so 4 Ayamako. Let's talk about that first. 4 Ayamako. Best consistency card of the deck, of course. You could run it at 3 copies if you want. There are some decks like Black War Greymon and Dark Knightmon that do be popping your tamers. So playing the Ayamako for 3 cost and then not getting any value other than the search does really hurt. So it's up to you. You can cut the Ayamako to 3 copies, but I really like it 4 copies because it stacks your deck. It searches 4 deep into your deck to get you a missing piece. It does everything, dude. It does everything. I just wish it gave you, start a main phase, gain a memory. That would have been nice for the card to have. But yeah, it's getting kind of power crept. That's the point. Anyways, 3 Purple Memory Boost, 3 Wisdom Training. You can switch up the ratios if you want, but I do think these are necessary. You can dump them with the Mon X to get back any of your Beelzemons, or any other card for that matter. And yeah, I want to bump it up to 7 just because for some reason, bro, I'm still breaking. And I think the reason you break is because you're mailing some of the pieces into the trash. And if for some reason you draw the Rivals Barrage or you just have no way to recur the pieces, then you end up breaking. So again, Beelzemon's a very high rolly deck. These are my supporting cards. Rivals Barrage, I would consider it a supporting card. Obviously, you trash it, you get a piece back next turn. It's also great security bomb. Great for getting rid of level 6 aces, level 7 bodies. Rivals Barrage is pretty good. I would play it at 4 copies, but the deck space is kind of tight. And you're about to see what I mean by deck space is kind of tight. So my last 2 cards. 1 Deathslinger, 1 7th Cluster. Now, here is my opinion. In my opinion, it's either you play 2 Deathslinger and you cut the 7th Cluster, or you play 1 of each. Or you can cut the Rivals Barrage, but I don't like doing that. If you really want to cut one of the boosts or the trainings, you can also do that, play your Deathslinger. What I'm telling you right now is you'll see, even in the Dark versus the Dark Knightmon matchup, and what happens when I play at tournaments with Beelzemon is that I will open multiple copies of Deathslinger or a Rivals Barrage Deathslinger, a 4 and a 6. is just something ridiculous, dude. Like 2 or 3 option cards in my hand that don't really do anything, and then I just lost. I can't even play the game, right? So like I said in the other video, what's the point of playing 3 Death Slingers if you open them all up in your hand and then you just brick? You can't do anything with them, right? The Death Slinger is good once you have 2 of them in trash, because I know people like to skip turn, and in Beelzemon you can't skip turn, right? If you have the wizard and 2 wizards, or a wizard and a Death Slinger, and your opponent's at 1 memory or 0 memory, you can skip turn if you blast in the Beelzemon ace, right? Because you'll gain 2 memory when they get milled. It's up to you. I was testing 2 Death Slinger like this, and I think that's a good ratio, to be honest, to get 2 Death Slinger. But I do miss the 7th full cluster, because there are so many Digimon that are immune to Digimon card effects, but not immune to option card effects. So this gives us 5 in the deck that deletes Digimon. A 7th full cluster you can't really choose. If it's the last card in the field, or last Digimon in the field, then obviously you blow up whatever is the lowest level. But yeah, 5 options that remove Digimon is pretty good. And 7th full cluster, again, you pretty much just Digivolve into Beelzemon, X Antibody, bottom deck it, and then you can prevent yourself from decking out while removing a body. So it's really good. Anyways, this is my list. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. I think for the most part, most lists are kind of running the same thing. From what I saw, they may deviate a little bit, but for the most part, I think that this is kind of what you're supposed to be running. Let me know. I've seen some people cut Wizard X entirely, or they still play the BT12 or the starter deck Beelzemon, or they cut Beelzemon from EX2 entirely, or they high roll and they don't play any of these and play 4 Rivals Barrage, 3 Death Singer, like 2 7 full cluster, which is ridiculous in my mind, right? I think if you want to win a tournament, you have to make this deck as consistent as possible, or you're gonna high roll. It looks good for the camera when you high roll, man. It looks good for the camera. You mill 2 Death Singer and the Rivals Barrage, and your opponent, you see the nuts, and your opponent can't keep up. So that's the whole point of this, is to not brick, right? All right, guys, we are back. I just want to show off this one combo because I think it's really neat, right? With things you can do with the Beelzemon ace, including the new support. So let's just say your stack, right? You put your opponent to 1 previous turn on your turn, and they promote their Digimon, they pop off essentially, and they put you to 3 memory or 4 memory, but in that process they delete your Digimon, right? So they get the overflow back, because we do have the ace under there, and this whole stack dies, right? Now, if you had the Beelzemon effect active, you would play Beelzemon back out. But let's just say for some reason you can't do that. The Beelzemon effect is not active. Even with the barrier effect, let's just say they still blew up your Beelzemon, right? So what happens now is, since X Antibody was in the stack and it was deleted, you can go ahead and play an Impmon. From here, you can play either the BT6 Imp or the Impmon X Antibody. It's up to you. But let's just say they're swinging at security because they attacked, did their Digivolving effects, and they blew you up. From here, you can drop a card, so like drop 7th full cluster, pick up the ace, right? And then you can go ahead and, since they're still attacking, you can still blast right into the Beelzemon ace. You draw your card. From here, you can turn skip if you wanted. If there already is an ace on the field, you could de-digivolve it and immediately gain the overflow from that ace. But if not, you can still steal turn from this position by putting a Death Singer or a Wizardmon on the top of your deck with Beelzemon's second effect, and then with the first effect, you mill them. You'll gain 2 memory, goes over to your turn, right? And Beelzemon on your turn will be able to trigger the when attacking effect to pop another thing. That's a really cool thing I like to do to skip turn on your opponents. Obviously, I don't think your opponents, like, once they say Beelzemon enough, they're not gonna fall for this trick where you steal turn from them. But sometimes your opponent has to risk it, and you can punish them for doing so. So I like this effect. Again, you can do the same effect with the Impmon X Antibody. You can mill the Impmon or play the Impmon X Antibody off the Beelzemon X Antibody effect, mill the Death Singer, get Beelzemon ace back from trash, and then go back on top to do your shenanigans. But I really like this combo to steal turn. But yeah, I think the whole point of this deck, to be honest, is just to get obviously 20 in trash. That's kind of the magic number. Get promotes. Like, if your opponent had put you to 2, you promote. And from here, even with the 2 memory, you can go ahead and blast into the ace. Because you can, what did my voice crack there? You can blast into the ace because he can put back the Death Singer or the Wizards on top of the deck. And, you know, 4 memory, but you'll gain 2 back, so you can keep turn. Now, ideally, if you have an Ayamako, you can go ahead, tap the Ayamako, right, to gain an additional memory. And then from there, you can go ahead and do your shenanigans where you go into your Beelzemon X antibody. I've seen games where you have 30 in trash and you just trash the top 3. So this deck is really resilient, and I like the defensive options. Like I said, I like the Wizard. I like the Itmon X from EX10 because they help you control the board, and especially the Balmon from EX10, right, giving you reboot and blocker. Anyways, that's my deck profile. If you guys enjoyed it, just make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I would really appreciate you guys if you became a channel member for, it's just 99 cents, but I don't know, it warms my heart. Shout out to my current channel members, man. You guys, in general, you guys keep me going, but I appreciate the channel members because I feel like specifically they're like, yeah, dude, I like your content so much, so I'm willing to give you 99 cents, which is not a lot, you know. The money is not, I don't think the money is relevant. It's just seeing you guys support me. Anyways, yeah, my name is Mr. J. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.